In today's video, I will show you step by step how you can set up Hunyuan3D 2.1 on your own PC to generate 3D AI models in combination with PVR textures. In addition to that, we will also have a look how you can use the 2.1 texture generation to also apply textures to 3D AI models like Sparc3D or Tripo. Once installed, you will be able to generate 3D models locally for free on your own PC using the latest 3D AI technology. Having said that, let's dive right into it. Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. For the ones who don't know me yet maybe, my name is Philip from Pixel Artistry. And as I mentioned already, today we will have a look at the whole installation and setup for Hunyuan3D 2.1. It's one of the latest models that Hunyuan released. It's not Hunyuan3D 2.5, this is the model that you will find on their website, but Hunyuan3D 2.1 is an upgrade to Hunyuan3D 2.0 and is also open source and free to use. By the way guys, in case you would like to connect further with our community, ask questions and help each other out in the 3D AI community, you can join now the Pixel Artistry Discord server. And the Discord server is entirely free to join. Just make sure that you click the link down below in the video description, and then you will get your personal invite code via mail, and then you can directly join. We are already a community now of over 90 members, which is super cool, and we keep growing every day. So make sure to join to be part of our great community already. Having said that, let's continue with the video. And for today's video, to get started, we will have a look at the Hunyuan3D 2.1 official GitHub page. And as you can see here, they have provide as usual a demo model, so you can choose this one for example. This is also very useful in case you have a very low VRAM graphic card like 4.8 gigabytes. Then you could also use their Hugging Face page to try it out. So what you would do then is simply drop here an image, and then what you can do is then generate the shape first and then generate the textured shape. You can also use one of the examples. You can then just click on here, for example, and what you can do then is hit here gen shape and gen texture shape, and then it will create the texture. So this is one option when you don't have enough VRAM. Otherwise, if you want to run the workflow, one thing I need to mention is that you need at least to have 12 gigabytes of VRAM, which is still great because the wrapper that Visual Bruno created, which I will show you in a second, is exactly doing that, and otherwise you would need way more. So that's great that he provided a version like this. So as you can see, when we scroll down here, it's also mentioned that here, as you see in the community contribution leaderboard, we have here ComfyUI Hunyuan3D 2.1 by Visual Bruno, and we will just click on it. And as you can see, huge shout out to him that he created this wrapper, which is super cool, and we can use this one then to install ComfyUI. Before we install ComfyUI, we just need to take a few steps before that to make sure that our workflow will run smoothly and the installation will be properly done. Please make sure to follow every step carefully that I'm doing here and really follow all the steps. Also wait for stuff to download because this can take a while and you might run into issues if you don't wait enough. So you might need to be a bit patient, but otherwise it should work properly when you follow this tutorial step by step. Alright, so let's dive right into the installation part. Alright, great. So to get started with ComfyUI Hunyuan3D 2.1 and installing the wrapper, the first thing we need to do is install some software requirements to be safe that everything runs smoothly. So first thing we need to do is opening the CUDA toolkit and then downloading the CUDA toolkit that we see from NVIDIA. In case you have an AMD graphic card, that doesn't apply to you. I'm also not entirely sure if Hunyuan3D is running on an AMD graphic card. So once you're here on the website, I will as usual link you everything down below this video in the video description. So what you can do then is first select Windows, then the x86, then here Windows 11, and then for the installer type you choose here the X file, and then you go here to download. Next step is then, some of you might remember it from the Hunyuan3D 2.0 installation, what you need to do here is that you first go to the standalone installer that we have here, then Git for Windows, x64 setup. As a third option, what I experienced that some people might need it, and especially when you need to install your own wheels, what we need to do then is click here on this button, download build tools, and then it will be also downloaded to your PC. You can then execute it here, and then as you can see, you can change it here. For me it's here in German, but it will be for you in English, I guess. I'm not sure why it's in German here. You can then install here the Visual Studio Build tools with everything included. Just make sure that you have everything installed. Of course, one thing and one requirement we need is to install the ComfyUI portable version. By the way, guys, just for you to know, in all my videos I'm using always the Windows portable version, because for me I never had issues with it. So once we are here, what we need to then do is first install the manager. This can be done by going to the GitHub of the manager. I will also link you a PDF down below where I explain you step by step how you can install the manager. Anyways, once you have done that, you can just need to execute it, and then it will be installed to your ComfyUI. Once we are then here, first thing we need to do is that we git clone the ComfyUI Hunyuan3D 2.1 wrapper to our custom nodes folder. So what we need to do is go first here into ComfyUI, double click on it, then we go here to the custom nodes, and what we need to do then is going to the taskbar, type in CMD until this window here will open. Don't be scared, this is a very easy approach to do. So what you need to do then is keep this window open and make sure that you have this path here that it points to the custom nodes. What you need to do then is go in here, that it's really only showing here the Hunyuan3D 2.1 in the end. So https github.com Visual Bruno and ComfyUI Hunyuan3D 2.1. So to our CMD window, then we will paste this in, and what we will do then is go to the beginning here, then say git clone, type in like this, so git clone, and then what you can do is type enter, and then as you can see, it will then clone the ComfyUI Hunyuan3D 2.1 folder inside the custom nodes. So what we can do then is navigate back in here, and as you can see, there will be a new folder then popping up here. So quite similar to the 2.0 installation, in case you have already checked out this video. Once we're here, what we can then do is go here, double click, and as you can see, all files should be here now. So what we need to do then is that we go first to the main model here and open this page. So I will open this link in a new tab. Then I will go in here, and the main folders we need to care about is the Hunyuan3D DIT folder, the IT over here, and the Hunyuan3D VAE folder, because this one should be downloaded by default later on, as well as this one. So what we need to do then is first go to this folder here, and it's also explained in the wrapper file that the Hunyuan3D DIT version 2.1 checkpoint needs to be installed in the diffusion models folder. So we will do that quickly by going here, downloading then this file. And then once it's downloaded, as you can see, I've done this already here a while ago. So what you can do then is first I would recommend to rename the file. So it's called right now model fp16 so and so. So what we can do then is go to properties, and then we can change the name here, and I would just call it the same name as we have here. So like this, and then we will just paste this in, hit OK. And then we should find it in our downloads folder with the correct naming. So like this, and then we can just cut this out here. And then what we can do is go to ComfyUI, and as it mentioned here, we need to go to the diffusion models folder, the diffusion models folder that we have over here, and then we will simply paste it in. Same thing we will do then with the VAE file. Once we have done that, we are almost through with the installation. What we need to do now, and which is a very crucial step, is that we go here to the texture gen part compilation. And what we need to do then is that we go here into the folder Hunyuan3D paint custom rasterizer, and then doing this command. This is not working for us because we are using the portable version. And what we need to do then is we can just simply copy this from the KeyJai ComfyUI Hunyuan wrapper. So we will open this in a new tab. Then we go back here, and we need this command here, the python embedded python.x -m pip install. So to do that is that we go here to our ComfyUI Windows portable version. It's very important that we are in this structure. So just when you see those files here, then we will open a new CMD window, copy this command here, which I just showed you, this, and paste this in here. Then we go to ComfyUI, then to custom nodes, then to the ComfyUI Hunyuan3D 2.1, and then we go to the Hunyuan3D paint. Then what we need to do is go here to the custom rasterizer file, and then we go here to dist. As you can see, there is a wheel provided for us already, which is super cool, especially for Windows over here, and also for Linux, of course. Right click and then copy as path. Then we're going back to our CMD window, making sure that we are on the ComfyUI Windows Portable, and then we have here the Python embedded, and then python.x -m pip install. Then we paste in our link here, getting rid of the quotation marks, and we can also get rid of the first part over here that we only have ComfyUI, custom nodes, ComfyUI Hunyuan3D 2.1, and so on and so on, and then that it's pointing to the wheel. And once we have double checked all of this, we can simply press enter. Now, same step we have to do for the other one, which is the Hunyuan3D paint differentiable renderer. Okay, awesome. And once we have done that, we are almost ready to go. And one more thing we of course need to do is also to install the requirements.txt that we have here. So this is also quite important to make the wrapper work. So what we need to do is then again, it's always kind of the same procedure. So we're going here to volume F to the ComfyUI Windows Portable version, wherever you saved it, opening here CMD, then again pasting that we're accessing our internal Python. So we will go like this, and then we go back in here, pasting this in. Here it's very important that we have the -m pip install -r, and what we will do then again is to go into ComfyUI, then into our custom nodes folder, ComfyUI Hunyuan3D 2.1. Then we see we have here requirements.txt. This will then install something like TriMesh, PyMeshLab, etc., etc. So we will go here, copy as path, pasting this in, removing the quotation marks again, and then also removing this part over here. And then it will then collect and download all the requirements that we need. And now we can finally run our ComfyUI Windows Portable version. So we will double click on here. The great thing is that the standalone guide, like the CMD, will always tell you if the installation already worked or not. Otherwise, you can also see it visually, of course, when we're dragging in our workflow, but I think this is also a great way to debug. So as you can see here, it's still saying import and failed, but that's expected because we still need to install some stuff, but Hunyuan3D will tell us this in a second once we run the workflow for the first time. You can always check here. Once we don't have the import failed message over here anymore, then we know that it worked successfully and that everything works as expected. All right, so once we have ComfyUI then finally open, what we can do is dragging in our workflow here. And then as you can see, it doesn't work yet. So we need to check what's going on, because we have here module not found error, and this is no module named CV2. So we need to install this as a pip thing. So what we need to do is then closing first our ComfyUI again. So we can simply do this. Then we're going back to ComfyUI Windows Portable, typing in here CMD. And what we can do then is that we're pasting in again the pip install. So I will go in here. I did this already with the PyTorch Lightning. So we also need this because this one was the issue that was popping up last time when I installed it. So I will execute this one first so that it's installing the PyTorch Lightning first. And then what we also do is that I go rid of this one here, and then we install also the CV2 to make it work. Alright, so the CVT issue indicates that we need to install the OpenCV Python file. So what we need to do then is, and this can sometimes happen, but this is good for debugging in case you encounter something like this right now. So what we need to do is going here, Python embedded python.x, and then we need to pip install the OpenCV Python. And by the way, I just figured this out by either Googling, but what you can also do in this case is that I'm just telling here what is wrong here and then pasting in my ComfyUI log that I had when launching ComfyUI, and then it will also tell you directly what you need to fix. So I will do it like this, and then as you can see, it's downloading now the corresponding pip file that we need. As you can see, now it's downloading this. So this is also great from DeepSeek, you know, to fix stuff like this. Okay, great. And once it's installed, we can now launch ComfyUI again and hope that it's working now. Let's see. And as you can see, now also the issue is gone with import failed, because we now installed the proper requirements that we need. We need now to let Comfy run the whole workflow. See? Okay, great. And once you have done that, and finally now it's opening and also working properly, as you can see here, what we can then do is to double check this is that we go here to our folder, then we go to ComfyUI, and then again to our custom nodes, ComfyUI, Hunyuan, and then as you can see we have here workflow examples, and what you can do then is, for example, that we're dragging in here the full workflow. As you can see, all the Hunyuan nodes are working now. We can of course also install the missing custom nodes that we have here by going here, install missing custom nodes, and then here install, select here latest, and then you can install the missing nodes and then restart, and then it should work. We will use for this one a workflow I will also link you down below, which is called the Hunyuan3D 2.1 pixel artistry. You can simply drag and drop the file in here that you have it. And as you can see here, we also need to install some missing custom nodes that we don't have here. So what you can do then is going here, install missing custom nodes again, and then install those ones like this. I will not install this one because some nodes require the old ComfyUI Hunyuan3D wrapper, and it's safer to do that not through the manager, but through a menu installation step. If you would like to use these nodes, make sure that you then install the Hunyuan3D wrapper. I explained in detail in my last video. It's kind of the same approach, and yeah. Then you can also use the other nodes. I know a lot of you have all done this already, but if you want to use this, and this is for the Hunyuan3D 2.0, so just make sure to install this then properly. So what we'll do then is go here to install, and then we can restart and to make it work then. Alright, so to get started with our workflow, the thing we need to do is obviously first drag it in. You can also see we have three different parts here. We have the model generation, we have the texture generation, and we have the external mesh. In case you still encounter any red nodes, please make sure that, as I mentioned already, you have the old Hunyuan3D wrapper 2.0 also installed. With the video I will link you right here. Of course, also go here to manager, install missing custom nodes, and then install all missing custom nodes and restart ComfyUI. So once you have done that, as you can see, we have the model gen, the external meshes, as you can see here. This is intended that you can use, as the name is mentioning already, external meshes from Sparc3D, for example, or Hunyuan3D 2.5, or also Tripo SG. And this will basically just decimate the mesh, so it will be a bit lighter, and then we can use it in the texture generation later, which I will show you here. And of course you can also disable and enable the groups as you want over here. So this is cool. What you can do then now is that we first choose here a file to upload. I did it already with this guy here, which I prompted in Midjourney, but to upload an image yourself, you can just go here, choose file to upload, and then upload your image. Also make sure that your image has a 1:1 ratio, as you can see here. It's 1024 times 1024, and this is giving really great results. So once you have done that, what we can do then is run the workflow, and as you can see already, I did it one time here as well, where we can see that it's then extracting the background from the foreground. We also have here some basic options that we could choose, like steps. You can of course increase the step size to get a better result, and we also have here for the mesh itself, and in the decoder we could also choose here the actor resolution, which also playing a huge role in the model generation itself, so make sure to have that on a high value. I can go here max size to 600 because otherwise I will run out of VRAM. So with my 12 gig of VRAM, this is the maximum I can go. Okay, great, and as you can see, our generation is done, and here we have the Hunyuan3D 2.1 model. Of course it still lacks a bit of detail compared to Sparc3D, for example, but I think this is giving a decent result, I would say. As you can see, we also have a nice structure over here on the bottom, and I personally think this is still an improvement to earlier models from Hunyuan, so this is cool. But I think the main part is still for Hunyuan3D 2.1, the texture generation, which is great. But if you would still like to use the model generation, you can also of course do that. It will also export it to your output folder, so you will always find your models under ComfyUI, then output, and then you will find them over here. Okay, great. Next step is now that we can also use the external meshes method. So what you need to do then is disable this one that we have here and then enable the external meshes. And as you can see, we have this one then active. And what you can do over here is, as you can see, we have here Hunyuan3D upload mesh. And I generated here the same image that we have over here, also in Sparc3D. If you want to check out how Sparc3D is working, you can check out my video about Sparc3D, which I will also link you here on the top. And there you will learn how you can generate great models with Sparc3D. Anyways, once you have done that, what you can do here is choose GLB file to upload, click on this one, and then I will go here to my download folder, choosing here the Sparc3D model that I need. Because Sparc3D has a really high poly count, so what I will do then is hit here run. Then it will translate it to 300,000 faces, which is of course still a lot, but it's way less than what it had originally, because otherwise the UV unwrapping method that we'll do in the next step, which will take forever. So make sure to do that first, and we can wait now until it generates the mesh. Okay, great. And once it's generated, as you can see, we have here way more detail, for example, also in his face and in the cloth itself and also on the hands kind of. So this is cool. And as you can see, this is also getting saved under 3D and remesh. And what we then can do is that we go now to our last step, which is the texture generation. So we can enable this one over here. And then we go in here, choosing here file to upload. In this case, it's the character again. And over here, we have the Hunyuan3D upload mesh. And here it's very important that you then choose the remesh file, which I did already. You need to go to the ComfyUI output folder over here, and then 3D, and then it will say here remesh, and then we can choose, for example, the latest one. And once you have done that, we can finally run our workflow. Make sure that here you set the texture size, for example, to 1024. You can also set it to 2048. Of course, then it will take a bit longer. Make also sure to unload your models first, so that you clean your VRAM and it's not loaded with something else, because otherwise it will go out of memory and we don't want that. And then we can also say here that we would like to unwrap our mesh because we don't have UVs on it yet. So this is important. And then it will resize our image here to 1024, bake the multi-views, and then we will see here our video views, and we can now run our workflow. And then as you can see, it also removing the background again. And now we can wait for the final result. Okay, great. And as you can see, it's loaded now. We have now the albedo textures, which I think is pretty cool. So it's trying to delight the image, which I think is doing a pretty decent job. So it's trying to remove all shadows and lighting. Of course, when you have a very contrasty image, and this is always not working that good. So make sure that you have kind of an even image like I have here. Of course, also here we have some shadowy parts. So make sure to use an input image which has more of an ambient lighting if possible. Also, we have here the metallic roughness map. And this is just looking so strange because we have two different channels. So we have the blue and green channel here affected, and which is pretty cool because it will then decide what will be metallic and what will be roughness and non-metallic kind of. So it's deciding between that. And when we take a look at our reference image, we see that those parts here are kind of metallics, and it's pretty cool that Hunyuan3D can recognize it. So this is cool, and I will show you this in a second in Blender. And then as you can see, I also added here for you a normal map that it will be generated, which we can use in Blender, and then as well a kind of height map that we can also use additionally. We can also see here on a preview that we have here, which is really cool, I think. And then I will quickly show you now how to import your 3D model into Blender and apply all the textures to your model. Alright, so once we're in Blender, we first need to import our model as usual. So I will go here to import GLB, and then we can go to the output folder where we saved, where I saved my ComfyUI portable version. So we go in here, ComfyUI output, and then I can simply import my model. And as you can see, this is then the model with the UVs that we need. So first thing, what we always do is that we go here to shade smooth first, then I will hit here top, go here to right click and say here merge vertices by distance, and then most of the vertices will get merged by default. What we can then do is check if we have the textures applied, which we have here, which is pretty cool, I think. Then I can also drag this one here out, go to shader editor, and then as you can see, it's applying already automatically the base color, which we have over here. So if you want to view this, as you can see, this is the albedo texture that we generated in Comfy. And then as you can see already here, we have a separate color node here, which was auto-created by the kind of exported model, which is cool. So as you can see, when I plug in this one here, we then have a black and white map, and it will then decide where it's metallic and where not. I can also plug in this again, and with the blue channel as well, we can see, okay, this is then in this case, the metallic one is the blue one and the green one is the roughness one, which is cool. And then we can also render this if we want, so we can adjust this a bit. So we can go to circuits, for example, go to GPU, then hitting here render, then of course reposition our light. What I always love to do when I'm using Blender, which I think is super cool, is that I'm going here and using an add-on which is called Easy HDRI. Here I'm choosing then the HDRI folder where I have everything saved. So we do this quickly like this, then accept it here, and then I can choose here my HDRI that I would like to have as a preview. Then I can hit here create world nodes. Then as you can see, we get a nice PBR lighting, which I think is cool to check and test our models in shading. Then one cool thing that we can do now with all the control that we have kind of from the PBR workflow, what we can do then, for example, is adding here as well a color ramp. And then we can, for example, adjust now our metallic value if we want to do that. So, or let's say first we want to adjust the roughness. And we can also do that by plugging in the green channel here and then going here and plugging in the roughness like this. And then what I could do then is kind of adjust the map. So when I'm displaying it here, go to surface, I could also then increasing the contrast a bit to get a bit more shinier result, maybe on the areas where we want to have it a bit glossier. And then as you can see here, it's getting then more reflective on the parts where it's more shiny. And we could do the same for the metallic map as well. So I would here also do a color ramp, and then I will plug this into the metallic one, and then also adjusting the slider over here. It's only changing on the parts where it's metallic right now. So this is, I think, is pretty cool. You can also go in here, change this a bit more, and you can already see we get then some nice changes. Of course, don't make it too reflective, but I think you get the hang of it. So yeah, I think this is quite cool, and then gives a first approach to texturing with PBR maps, which is crucial for 3D models. And we can take this one, for example, now also into Substance Painter and so on. In case you're interested in learning more, for example, also about Substance, how you can texture then your 3D models, let me know down below in the comments. And as always, see you on the next one.